Let's continue our coverage now of the manslaughter conviction of James Crumbley. Joining us live on the desk, attorneys Wolf Mueller and Terry Johnson. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Terry, we'll start with you. We have been watching things extensively as we waited for that word to come down on the verdict. What is your immediate reaction?
My immediate reaction was surprised. And when I say surprised, I was surprised at the fact that it came in last night. Generally, when I thought they were going over a little, after 4:30, 5 o'clock, I figured at some point they would at least come back and say, you know what, let's go home and rest on this and make sure that we're doing the right thing. I was very surprised that they came back that late at night.
Wolf, what about you? Do you think that it was almost too quick?
No, I thought they gave it a lot of thought. But as it got, as Terry said, toward the end of the afternoon, I knew it was going to come back. Nobody was going to come back the next day when they said we're getting closer.
Yeah, and you're one of the attorneys who are going after the school districts, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so what do you think that these convictions mean for that case?
One, it helps, obviously, when we're able to get more testimony from the school employees, who were really the other two people in the room that morning. That's important because in the civil cases, we have been stonewalled in getting discovery so far. So that was important. The other thing, too, is I think it shows that people are not looking myopically at it's just the shooter. Now we're saying what's the root cause? And when you really want to get to the root cause of mental health issues and training, it has to fall on the school district.
And we saw you there last night with some of those family members. Can you tell us more about just the sense of how they were feeling in that room after hearing that news?
It's gut-wrenching to be watching the closing arguments, seeing the video of your child getting killed. It's horrible, but they are so strong, these four families, and the other people who were injured. Everybody is so strong and so steadfast in wanting to get justice, but justice is not just these three individuals. Justice is also holding the school district responsible. They want complete justice. This is just half justice.
Terry, for you, what are your thoughts on what has happened up to this point? Because you had some pretty strong feelings about how the defense was presenting its case. You felt like it was a lot better than what we saw before, but we still had the same fate as Jennifer.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot better. Again, this more so focused on the facts, not the character. What did or didn't Mr. Crumbley know? And, I agree with Wolf here from the standpoint of there were four adults in the room. I have a problem with what I'm going to call selective prosecution that Ms. McDonald has done. There were four adults in the room, and the mere fact that two of them are hiding behind some kind of immunity or some other things is ridiculous. I have a huge problem with that. And if you want to hold everybody accountable civilly, fine. You want to hold everybody accountable criminally, fine. But you can't break out what happened in that room. There were four adults in that room. No one searched the bag, and it doesn't matter. Everybody had a little piece of information. They should have put it all together and come up with a plan. Unfortunately, none of them did. All of them were too busy.
I've done a lot with mental health and with students who have been in these types of situations and reached out for help and didn't always get it. Do you think that this case is now going to open up the door to prosecute more of those people who don't step in outside of just parents?
Quite honestly, I don't think so. One of the things Terrence has heard me say many times here is that are prosecutors now going to go after gang members? For example, if a gang member who's 15, 16, 17, whatever, lives in their parents' home, grabs a gun from them, goes and kills someone. Let's say it's not an Oxford type shooting, but it's one or two people or just one person. Mm-hmm. Is a prosecutor going to go after that person? Now, should they under what happened? Yes, but are they going to? No. This was a high-profile case. And unfortunately, I think we're probably not going to see any type of prosecution like this again.
Mm-hmm. Wolf, before these trials started, a lot of people were just so shocked at some of the details that were coming out, and people wanted to know what were these parents thinking. When you heard the arguments from their defense attorneys, did any of it make sense to you, or were you just as angry as before?
The evidence that was in this case was really overwhelming in terms of what the parents knew, but also with the training what the school district employees knew. Remember, as Ms. McDonald said, and I'll tell you, kudos to the prosecution team and to the jury for taking on a very difficult task and giving it the attention it needed and the care that it needed. But as Ms. McDonald said, there's no playbook, there's no owner's manual for being a parent. The people who had the training were the school district employees. They were the true grown-ups in that room. And that's where the focus needs to be now that we've held everybody responsible. Terry is right. You can't selectively prosecute, and you can't selectively treat public school employees different than private school employees, because private schools don't have governmental immunity like this. If, God forbid, this ever happened at a Detroit Catholic Central, there would be accountability. There is no accountability. They can hide behind lawyers and immunity. So that's a different situation, and that is not right. That shouldn't be the way we handle things in society.
Now, with you going after the school for reasons like that, and we see what happened with the parents, do you have any empathy at all for the shooter who has seemingly failed on many levels?
It is a classic example of a kid who is crying out. Certainly, he needs to be held accountable for being the person who decided to do this and all the planning he had. But if you look at it from the big picture, here's a kid who's crying for help, and nobody helped him. The people who were trained to help didn't help. The parents who should have known better and should have handled that gun better, they didn't help. So he's been ignored on many levels, and that's why it's a tragedy all the way around.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, attorneys Terry Johnson and Wolf Mueller, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.